The Charlotte Motor Speedway Media Tour 2015 edition wrapped up today as news about the 24 team continued. Hendrick Motorsports announcing that Chase Elliott will replace Jeff Gordon in the iconic 24 car starting in 2016.
The effect of walking into the garage area in 2016 and not seeing the 24 car with Jeff Gordon's name on it will be a traumatic experience for me. But, you know, I just appreciate all he's done for us and what he's meant to the sport. And I'm excited about Chase because he's a heck of a young talent. But we still have a lot of racing left to do, and Jeff's got another year, and hopefully he can finish with a championship and a lot of wins.
What I think he's doing is so amazing, and how can't think of anybody better to step into that seat than him.
I don't look at it as me trying to fill somebody's shoes or me trying to replace Jeff Gordon, because I don't think you're ever going to replace Jeff Gordon in any way that you can. So I think that's the best way to look at it for me. And the best thing I can do is go and try to be myself and just try to do the best job that I can behind the wheel. And that's really all you can ask for. So like I said, you know, Jeff Gordon's Jeff Gordon, and yeah, we'll have all the respect in the world for him, but I have to go and just try to do my job.
Normally you would think the big story would be about Jimmie Johnson going for a 7th title, but today that was not the case, and Jimmie says he's fine with that.
To be honest, this week today really is about Jeff Gordon and then the introduction of Chase to the 24. So I've got no issues with it. It's kind of wild though to watch a guy that you idolized since you were young. It's just a weird experience, and to watch a friend and teammate sit up here and start the process of his last year.
Now, before he steps into this car in 2016 full-time, Chase Elliott will find himself behind the wheel of the number 25 car for 5 races in 2015, starting with a spring race in Martinsville. Reporting for NASCAR.com, I'm Jeff Taylor.
Jeff Taylor reports it's shaping up to be a pretty dismal 2015 season for the 3-time Sprint Cup champ.
Here at Stewart-Haas Racing, the 2015 season has started strong for 2 of its drivers, Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, both with wins and both seemingly securing spots in this year's chase. Meanwhile, Danica Patrick is off to her best start statistically. She currently sits 16th in the points and has 2 top 10 finishes already. So that leaves the question, what is up with Tony Stewart? He is off to his worst start. Before Bristol, Tony didn't even have a top 10 finish. He finished 6th at Bristol, but followed that up with this crash last week at Richmond, winding up 41st. He's now 30th in the championship point standings. Meanwhile, the last 2 years have been tough on Tony. First, the sprint car injury in which he suffered leg injuries, and then last year, the tragic accident in New York in the sprint car race. Tony, of course, was hoping for a fresh start this year, but it started off with this crash with Matt Kenseth in the Daytona 500 and a 42nd place finish in the season opener. And things have not gone better since. Now the hope for Tony Stewart may be warmer weather, and I know that sounds strange, but Tony always seems to run better in the summer months, and he's always strong near the end of the season, and for all the fans of the 14, that's certainly what they're hoping.
There's a lot already going on in Charlotte, North Carolina. Our Jeff Taylor is already there.
Hey Joe, things are certainly getting amped up here at Charlotte Motor Speedway as we get ready for 2 great weekends of racing, and of course it begins with the 30th running of the Sprint All-Star Race. Over the years, this race has produced some of the most historical finishes in NASCAR racing. Darrell Waltrip versus Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison versus Kyle Petty. Year after year, we've seen it, and this year will be no different. And one team that will certainly be one of the favorites is the number 48 team, who has won 2 of the last 3 All-Star races.
Oh, we're super excited. We were here from the transition from what was the Winston to the All-Star race, and we actually won that race. So being able to be a part of all those victories in years past, to come here and be a part of the 30th anniversary of it's just awesome. It's a great event. It's a lot of fun. It's close to home, so there's a lot of excitement back around it.
While Jimmie Johnson, Chad Knaus, and the race day pit crew enjoyed the accolades of competing and winning races every weekend, the 2 races in Charlotte allowed more members of Hendrick Racing to enjoy the weekend.
Yeah, we always try to get some of the guys that maybe don't travel with us weekly to come out here to the All-Star race to experience what it is and get a feel for it. Everybody needs to get out and feel the thunder and the excitement and what it is to be at the racetrack, and you're not going to get more thunder or more excitement than what you are here at the All-Star race.
As for NASCAR fans, they will once again play a role in the Sprint All-Star race as they will be voting in a fan favorite for the 10th year in a row.
Oh, the fans are awesome. I mean, they're interactive. They're here. They watch the whole thing happen. They do the fan vote. There's so many elements of it that the fan can really appreciate and enjoy. It's a race that has a lot of uniqueness to it. So and the fans still understand it completely. So it's a great event.
Now, one final footnote to the All-Star race. In the history of that race, 7 different drivers have won it and then gone on to win the 600 the next weekend. The last person to do that was Kurt Busch back in 2010.
There's a race team in Charlotte, North Carolina that's a lot different from all the others. Rev Racing is almost a race car driver university, a place for young drivers to get help on the path to racing in NASCAR's Premier Series. Rev has 6 drivers in the class of 2015, hoping to accomplish what alumni like Kyle Larson, Darrell Wallace Jr., and Daniel Suarez already have. Jeff Taylor has more in the first part of a 2-part series on Rev Racing.
Headquartered in Concord, North Carolina, Rev Racing was created back in 2010 by former Dale Earnhardt Incorporated President Max Siegel with one goal in mind: to provide competitive race cars to further develop the skills and capabilities of all drivers seeking opportunities in one of the world's most competitive sports.
Rev Racing is about giving drivers an opportunity that might otherwise not have an opportunity, whether they have never been given the opportunity because of their background or their families can't afford for them to race. We try to provide them with a better opportunity to have success in the sport.
Rev Racing currently fields cars for 6 drivers, 2 who run in the Whelen All-American Series and 4 who run in the K&N Pro Series. All 6 of these young drivers know just how lucky they are. Is this an opportunity of a lifetime?
Absolutely. There's countless race car drivers out throughout the country and throughout the world that would love an opportunity to race fully funded, and they can't. And to have this come into my lap, I feel like for a lot of those other racers, I need to hold the banner high and do the best job I can do for them.
It's something that, my parents obviously can't put me up to. They can't, afford, the funding it takes to run, a shop like this or a series like this, traveling and everything. But it's absolutely, it's a opportunity that, I know a lot of people wish they had, and I'm very thankful for that.
Yes, it is so much fun. This is the best opportunity I've had so far, and it's great. The people here are so awesome, and I love every minute of it.
All of these drivers know that if they take full advantage of what Rev Racing is giving them, they can make the transition to the next level of racing.
I really don't want to move up too fast, but I do see myself, running trucks in a year or so. And
I mean, down the road, everybody wants to make it to Cup 10 years down the road. But I feel like I need to prove myself in the NASCAR K&N Pro Series this year. I feel like I definitely need it. This is my 3rd year in the series. I definitely need to go out and I need to win.
It's so hard to make it to that level, and everyone in that series, and each series when you get to the National Series, it's really tough. So like I said, we get the stars lined up and we can get all the chemistry working here with Rev Racing, and I can gel with my guys, and we can go out there and run good on the racetrack and have good results, then I think we'll make it.
Now, coming up next week on Raceline, we will continue our story with Rev Racing as we tell you how all 6 youngsters got behind the wheel of race cars. Reporting from Concord, North Carolina, I'm Jeff Taylor for Raceline.
A new name will be on the Sprint Cup roster this week at Martinsville. Chase Elliott makes his Sprint Cup debut for Hendrick Motorsports at what is arguably that team's best track on the circuit. Raceline's Jeff Taylor has more.
Tiffany, this season, Chase Elliott will be behind the wheel of the number 25 car for 5 Sprint Cup races starting this weekend at Martinsville. Now, calling the shots for the number 25 team will be Kenny Francis, who of course was the longtime crew chief for Casey Kane here at Hendrick Motorsports. This will be a great weekend for Elliott to start running in the Sprint Cup Series since the Xfinity Series has the weekend off. Remember that Chase is driving for his 2nd consecutive Xfinity Series championship this season. All 5 Sprint Cup races, however, for Chase this season will act as a warm-up as he will be taking over for the number 24 car full-time next season for Jeff Gordon. While excited about this opportunity, Chase Elliott knows that he will not be replacing the legendary Jeff Gordon.
I don't look at it as me trying to fill somebody's shoes or me trying to replace Jeff Gordon, because I don't think you're ever going to replace Jeff Gordon in any way that you can. So I think that's the best way to look at it for me. Then the best thing I can do is go and try to be myself and just try to do the best job that I can behind the wheel, and that's really all you can ask for.
Now, there are 2 interesting footnotes to this weekend's race at Martinsville for Chase. The first is the fact that he's only run 2 races at this speedway, and they were both behind the wheel in the Truck Series. The second is Elliott should find some comfort in knowing that he is driving for Hendrick Motorsports, and their results at Martinsville Speedway have been strong to say the least. In fact, Hendrick Motorsports has more wins at Martinsville Speedway than any other team in NASCAR, 22. And his teammates for this weekend, Dale Earnhardt Jr., Jimmy Johnson, and Jeff Gordon, have 17 of those 22 victories. Tiffany?
Okay, thanks a lot, Jeff. Well, you've probably heard already that Brian Vickers is out of his ride again at Michael Waltrip Racing. And again, it's because of blood clots in his legs. The problem has plagued Vickers since 2010, when he had to step out of the Red Bull Racing Toyota. Brian spoke to the media last week at Auto Club Speedway about his condition and his foreseeable future.
By no means have I given up.
Jeff sits down with Danica Patrick for more this week.
Thank you very much. I'm here with Danica Patrick. And Danica, congratulations on the new deal with Stewart-Haas Racing, a new sponsor in the form of Nature's Bakery. As you get done with 2015 and head into 2016, how nice is it to have all that locked in?
Big relief. And you say as we get done with 2015 to move into 16, we've got a lot of racing left in 2015. Shoot, that's almost like an IndyCar season. So there's a lot left to be done here. I'm still going to have a lot of races with GoDaddy on the car, but it's early enough for myself, my team, Stewart-Haas, and Nature's Bakery to all work together and come up with a great plan that's going to work for 2016 and beyond.
There were a lot of questions over the past few months about your future with Stewart-Haas Racing. Did it ever enter your mind that I may not be here? Was it a distraction either on the racetrack or off the racetrack?
It wasn't a distraction to not know what was going to be my situation moving forward, because I always knew that when I started thinking about it, the best thing that I can do for my future, and hopefully my future is at Stewart-Haas, is to perform. That's the best thing I can do. So buckle down, don't worry, let the team and the marketing folks and the agents take care of everything, and go perform on track.
Tony Stewart said some wonderful things about you at the press conference, both as a person and a driver.
Yep, I paid him well.
What does Tony mean to you in terms of your racing career, and does he mean even more now that you've signed this extension?
Well, I've always liked Tony since the first time I met him. I met him a really long time ago, and he's always been a really nice guy. And when I came to NASCAR and thought about my Cup future, this is the team that came to mind. And how fortunate am I that this is the team I wanted to drive for. I got to. And now I get to continue to drive for that team, and that's all I wanted from this last contract to this one, was to stay where I was at and continue to grow and be in a place where I feel like we're all working towards the same goal. We're not nitpicky. We don't, from a contract team obligation standpoint, they're extremely understanding. We only do stuff that moves the needle and makes a difference and drives on-track performance. So this is having a big sponsor always drives on-track performance and gives teams stability and allows them to be able to do what my dad always told me when I was young. Speed costs money. How fast do you want to go?
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeff Taylor, and this is NASCAR for the CNN Airport Network. Coming up, it's our Race to the Finish highlight package from this week's NASCAR Winston Cup race at the California Speedway. But first, a look at NASCAR's top 10 headed into Los Angeles. Matt Kenseth headed into California on a hot streak, holding down the top position in the NASCAR top 10 for 6 weeks. But hot on his heels is his old Busch Series rival, Dale Earnhardt Jr. Jeff Gordon moved up 2 spots after his win at Martinsville 2 weeks ago. Since then, it's been a rare week off for NASCAR and a chance for drivers to take part in hobbies they normally don't have time for. Now, 1 year ago, Bill Elliott finished 4th at the California Speedway after starting 39th. How did Awesome Bill fare in Southern California this year? Find out next during our Race to the Finish highlight. For NASCAR on the CNN Airport Network, I'm Jeff Taylor. Enjoy your flight.
The NCAA Championships presented by Northwestern Mutual, 13-10 our halftime score. And Jeff Taylor has Bruce Fowler down on the field. Jeff.
Coach, kind of interesting first half. Your team got off to a slow start but responded well for a 13-10 lead. What'd you tell the kids at halftime?
Well, we just got to execute better. And, we have to do some things, execution-wise better. But, we got to maybe create some turnovers. That's been a thing we've been able to do second half. We gave one to them down there late in the half that, we should have gotten some points out of that series. And, we're just going to have to battle. It's going to be a hard game, and we got to get back out there, and we got to do a lot better than we did in the first half.
Offensive-wise, struggled in the passing game. Any adjustments for that, or what do you look for in the second half from Reese Hannon?
Well, I think we're doing okay. We hit a big touchdown pass. We've hit a couple other timely ones. We've had a couple interference calls, but we got to get the run game going too. I mean, that's going to help us set up the pass, and that's kind of who we are. So I think that's a big key is getting the run going a little bit.